A very good afternoon, everyone. So, I am Dr. Farha, and now our psychology department is going to start our value added course. And our head of the department, Professor Zeba Akil, will start from the module 1, and that is the self concept. I invite our head, Professor Zeba Akil, ma'am. Please, ma'am, come and join and enlighten our students on self concept and self esteem.
Good afternoon, students and dear participants, because many of our students who have enrolled, they are faculty members also. So I will call them faculty members. Today we are starting with the first module of our course, Understanding Self and Self-Resilience. It is my honor to begin the course with you all. Self concept. When we introduce the concept of self, then first of all, I would like to say when talking about self, self has been assigned different terminologies in different subject areas. But in psychology, for example, in Hindi, in the languages, self is attributed to different course. But when psychology, in Arabic, it is called nafs, as Professor Akbar Hussain stated yesterday. But when it comes to psychology, self is the person's awareness about his own self. Who is he? So, if a comprehensive definition, we talk about a comprehensive definition, then we will say that self refers to a person's experience as a single, unitary, autonomous being that is separate from others. Self is why it is called single, because it is the individual experiences of the persons. Why it is unitary, because nobody else will be incorporated when you form your own self concept. And it is autonomous. I can't form the self concept of my students. I may be instrumental in formation, but that is formed. It is not, self is not formed only by the environment, but whereas self is formed, it is an evolution. It is person's evolution from birth till death. This continues to evolve. Maybe it is in positive manner and maybe it is in negative manner. It depends upon personal experiences. Yet how you combine those personal experiences, that is very important when you talk about self. The experience of the self includes consciousness of one's physical as well as inner character and emotional life. In other words, we can say that physical self is the physiology of the person. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ फिजिकल एट्रीब्यूट्स, वो दिखने में कैसा है, हाइट कितनी है, वेट कितना है, कलर कितना है, what are the hormonal secretions, and plus the psychological attributes. Another thing I would say that self is not an innate entity. Self is governed by the environmental values, environmental inculcation. That's why later on the psychologists say that self is the totality of the individual, consisting of all characteristic attributes, conscious, unconscious, mental, and physical. It is the sum total of your attributes. Whether these attributes are physical in nature, they are psychological in nature, because environment may be same for example, if I say environment can be same for identical twins, because they are from the same parents. Even the hereditary environment is more or less the same, yet those two identical twins may have different self concepts, because बाहर से जो आ रहा है वो आ रहा है, but how that external information is mixed up with the internal world, your internal characteristics, or rather than, in other words, we can say that how that external information is assimilated within you. That's why psychologists have said that it is autonomous, it is unitary in nature. Maybe, for example, if some information is coming, some resources from the environment, and that is consistent in manner for different person. Maybe if I give you an example, your parents, your mother scolded you, both of you, maybe you are two identical siblings and your mother scolded you, same on a same matter, but how you assimilate it. One child may get irritated, frustrated, or may revolt, or may just treat the mother in a negative manner, whereas the other child takes it in a good spirit, maybe that my mother is my well wisher. So it depends कि same चीज के लिए, for a same resource there may be different concepts. Apart from its basic reference to the personal identity, self, being, and experience, the term used in psychology is wide ranging. Only one thing is, अच्छा एक चीज और बता दे, for self I will tell you कि different psychologists have given it different name, they have called it with different terminologies, yet they refer to the same meaning. For example, when I was a student, first thing that struck me in psychology was area of functionalism, where William James advocated the concept of mirror glass self. What is this mirror glass self? We build ourselves according to the perception of others, what others perceive about me. For example, if you wear a dress today or in the evening in some party and somebody appreciated that dress, somebody or group of people appreciated that dress, and that was a new dress, you didn't had any information about that dress till today, and it was a new dress, and when you went to the party many people were present there and they appreciated your dress. From that day onwards, that dress will become your favorite dress. You will try, फिर in the next party maybe those people are not there and new you are going to meet new people, so you will wear that dress again because that has become part of your positive self concept. So William James said that when you make up your self concept, it is through the mirror glass, the glass or the eyes of others. According to William James, self can refer either to the person as the target of appraisal, either it is you who introspectively, introspection is a method given by Wilhelm Wundt, who said when you evaluate how you are functioning, or firstly self बनता है, self is formed by your own appraisal, your own introspection about how you are doing, and secondly how you are evaluated by some external source, how the people around you, how the environment around you evaluates you. One's attributes the source of regulation of perception, thought, and behavior to one's body or mind. About your thought, about you are beautiful, if somebody attributes you, then, and if this continues for a long, then that beauty will be part of your self concept. Next, when we come to Carl Jung, he's called, he said self develops by the process of individuation, because Carl Jung gave the concept of, initially he was a psychoanalyst, but he gave the concept of individual psychology. He contradicted Freud because Freud said that a child is a biological being. Every child grows in the same manner, but Carl Jung, Alfred Adler, they all separated from Freud just because, for example, Adler said about social psychology, Carl Jung said about individual psychology. Both of them were segregated from the Freud's concepts of psychoanalysis, and they said, Carl Jung said that individuation is very important in the development of personality, in the development of self in your personality rather than. And this individuation, according to Jung, is achieved in the later childhood, or it can be said in the young adulthood. It starts from the beginning, but it reaches to its threshold when you are in the age of young adulthood. Another psychologist, Alfred Adler, called this self as individual's lifestyle. It is it will vary from person to that. Why he called this individual's lifestyle? Because it varies from person to person, from situation to situation. And in this, again, the example of identical twins would be there, that they said कि maybe the internal and external environment is same, then also the assimilation of self would be formed on the basis of that single person, not on the no two person can have the similar self concept, as it has been educated that no two people can have the same personality. Same way, no two person can have a similar, it may be similar self concept, but it can't be exactly the same self concept. That's why Alfred Adler said that it is individual's own lifestyle. He didn't call the term as self, whereas he said it is his own individual's lifestyle. Later on, Karen Horney, she said that one's real self, as opposed to one's idealized self image, consists of one's unique capacities for growth and development. As personality is unique in nature, as your biometric is unique in nature, same way your self image is also unique in nature. She also corresponded to the individuation referred earlier by Carl Jung and Alfred Adler. She didn't advocated that all will grow biologically we can be the same, biologically we can be the same, but when it comes to development of self concept, this will differ from person to person. Another psychologist, Allports, gave a term proprium for self. What is this proprium? It is the self. He called it proprium. It is the essence of individual. And one thing I will say, Allport said that it develops consistently when the child becomes. अच्छा, one thing I also want to say that चाइल्ड बच्चे के अंदर बॉडी का सेंस अपनी बॉडी के लिए आइडेंटिटी कब आती है? व्हेन द चाइल्ड इज इन द puberty stage, then child becomes aware of who she or he is physically. I won't say that the child will become child will come to know who is he or who is she. The child becomes aware till 6 months of age. Child considers him or herself as the part of mother's body. That's why the craving of mother is too much. But later on, when the child develops, till the child reaches the puberty stage, when different kind of biological changes are occurring in the body, now the child realizes that he she has his own existence. The sense of body comes. Now they think that their height is like the adults. I am talking about your physical self. And then their weight, their body changes are like their mother and father. Obviously, there are two genders in the society, so it will be like them. Here, why Gordon Allport said that proprium. Now again comes the role of parents that I will discuss in the later slide. Then sense of identity. Adolescent is a stage in which this called is a stage of stress and storm. Why it is so? Because the child becomes child self is physical self is being developed. Physically the child looks like an adult, but mentally, psychologically the child is still a child, not an adult. The feelings, the thoughts, the mental capacities, on one fine day when the child attains puberty, it doesn't mean that the child will be psychologically mature also. For physical maturity, you need 2 to 3 years. Then for psychological maturity, again 3 to 4 years are required after your physical maturity. So child is physically mature. I said his adolescence is called the stage of storm and stress because child is physically grown up now, but psychologically he or she is still a child. Parents say Why are you sitting with the adults? And when the child starts playing with the children, then he is being scolded. You are playing like a child, you are a be grown up. Now the why that's why this storm and stress comes in the child's life. Ki, who am I? Whether I am an adult or I am a child. Next slide says, now the most important person who gave the, I am really fan of Rogers, who gave so much, so importance to self, that this concept is purely attributed to the contributions of Carl Rogers, who said there is no personality, there is nothing, there is only self. He was a humanistic psychologist. Had Rogers came earlier, he would have revolutionized the entire realm of personality theories, where he said that person is important, the self, the own person. That's why he advocated that client centered therapy in psychology, where no single therapy can treat all the people. Mind my words, because every person is individual in nature. Carl Rogers gave three different types of self. He said rather than there not three different types, rather there are three parts of the self. One is the ideal self. What is the ideal self? It is those attributes, those qualities, those characteristics which the person wishes that it is there in that person, which he envisions that these qualities, these characteristics, these attributes should be in me. For example, if you meet a person who is a real achiever, I want to be like Ambani, I want to be like Ratan Tata. I want to be like our honorable prime minister. Anybody else? Ideal self आपके लिए कुछ भी हो सकता है, जिसको आप फॉलो करते हैं, जिसकी तरह आप बनने चाहते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई वॉन्ट टू बी लाइक से योर बॉलीवुड स्टार्स, शाहरुख खान, सलमान खान. आई वॉन्ट टू लुक लाइक हिम. Many of you, many of young adults and even मतलब people of middle ages also, they follow those ideal self people. Here comes a crisis again. When you start following ideal self, and if there is no coherence between both of you, Freud said, Rogers said that mental crisis arises when we start following the ideal self and we leave behind our real self, what we really are. So we are always conscious how our ideals, what my ideal self is wearing, what my ideal self is doing, what my ideal self is behaving, कैसे वो बात करता है, कैसे वो चलता है, कैसे वो अपने को present करता है. But your real self is not having that capacities. You may be having different capacities with you. I'm not saying ki your ideal self, always your ideal self is better than you from your perspective. Maybe from other people's perspective, he or she is a normal person, but that you idealize that person. So when you are completely into idealization of other person, then your own growth, your own personal growth hampers. Don't you are not like रियल सेल्फ से उतना ही दूर होते चले जाते हो, देन दी मेंटल क्राइसिस अराइजेस. ओके, तो आइडियल सेल्फ को हम फॉलो करना चाहते हैं, अपने बेसिक सेल्फ को छोड़ के आइडियल सेल्फ की तरफ भाग रहे हैं. जब प्रॉब्लम राजस ने जब बाद में थेरेपी इंट्रोड्यूस की, तो उन्होंने यही कहा कि प्रॉब्लम क्राइसिस वहीं पे आती है. नेक्स्ट इज द सेल्फ इमेज. नाउ व्हाट इज द सेल्फ इमेज? सेल्फ इमेज सेज हम अपने को कैसे देखते हैं. Who am I? What are the different physical and psychological makeup which makes me? The most difficult question of our life is who am I? What are my physical characteristics? What are my personality traits? Interview situations may people ask, what are your weakness? And the respondents say, I am very emotional in nature. So being emotional is your weakness? No, you don't know yourself. Why you don't know yourself? You are emotional. That's why you are sitting in this interview. You are a human being. The emotions are not your weakness. You are not aware about yourself. I am very short tempered. I am people. I am very social in nature. I am very friendly. Least you have heard about people saying about themselves. So self-image is your own characteristics, which you can identify other people's characteristics, but you fail to identify your own characteristics. Who are you? Next is this self-esteem. What is self-esteem? How much you are being accepted in the society on the basis of your self esteem. It can be affected by n number of factors, which I will tell you, but here it is because we are talking about Rogers. He said that how others see you, how you think you compare to others, and your role in society. If you like someone, you try to establish a good correlation with that person, and maybe you are not agreeing with certain things of that person, then also you say, yes, I also like this. Yes, I also like this. I also wanted to do that. So that is self-esteem, because that person in Rogers said crisis arises because we pursue our self-esteem in with the ideal self. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe you don't like all the things of ideal self, but still 80% things you are liking, तो 20% you will silently agree. प्रॉब्लम वहां से आ जाएगी जब 20% उसके साथ अब एग्रीमेंट तब कर रहे हैं when your real self is not at all appreciating that thing. Okay. Next is, what is self concept? सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट इज मेड अप ऑफ थ्री एंटिटीज. फर्स्ट इज सेल्फ इमेज. आप क्या हो, आप कैसे दिखते हो, चाहे वो फिजिकली हो चाहे वो साइकोलॉजिकली हो. वन थिंग इन आवर इंडियन सोसाइटी, बिकॉज वी आर इन इंडिया, one thing I want to say, there is for physical self there are many questions. आप काले हो, गोरे हो, लंबे हो, पतले हो, मोटे हो, छोटे हो, दुनिया वालों ने सारा बार उठा लिया है कि आपको आपकी एक सेल्फ इमेज बना देंगे. देन यू गेट कॉन्शियस. मेरा रंग, आई एम अ डार्क कॉम्प्लेक्शन गर्ल और बॉय, अरे तुम्हारा रंग तो ऐसा. और मे बी इफ यू आर ओनली वन इन द फैमिली हु इज हैविंग दैट काइंड ऑफ कॉम्प्लेक्शन, देन अगेन अ क्वेश्चन मार्क. ये तो ऐसा दिखता या दिखती है. सेल्फ इमेज. सेल्फ इमेज एक आपकी फिजिकल एट्रीब्यूट्स पे हो गई. 2 बार क्लास में फेल हो गए, अगेन अ न्यू सेल्फ इमेज इज बिल्ड अप कि अरे ये पढ़ नहीं पाएगा, इससे पढ़ाई नहीं हो पाएगी, इसको ये सब्जेक्ट्स नहीं कर पाएंगे. अगेन अ न्यू सेल्फ इमेज. और फिर उसके बाद ये तो आपके पेरेंट्स की बात हो गई. फिर उसके बाद आता है योर सेल्फ इमेज, योर स्कूल, योर कम्युनिटी, योर फ्रेंड्स are great contributors to building up your self-image. And mind my words, this building of self-image starts from the initial years of life. The child is born. For example, if a child is born and that child is a girl child and that girl child is not desired in the family, तो पहले दिन से ही उसका एक निगेटिव सेल्फ इमेज बनना शुरू हो जाएगी, दैट आई एम नॉट अ डिजायर्ड चाइल्ड. एक सेल्फ इमेज. the child starts growing. एक aura, one aura is created in front of that child who is just born, that I am not desired child. Because maybe the child is not that much cognitively matured, yet the energies which you are reflecting in front of the child would lay a detrimental effect on the personality of that child rather than on the formation of self image of that child. That child will now grow in that cocoon of self image where the negative energies were generated for her the day she was born. And whereas vice versa, if that energy, that aura is of positive manner, then child will automatically develop in a affluent aura, in a affluent environment where वो कौन सा गाना था, मेरा चंदा है तू, मेरा सूरज है तू, हाँ मेरी आंखों का तारा है तू. In my class today also I discussed this, that positive vibrations which you are when you are relating your child with the celestial bodies, and above all those celestial bodies of Suraj and Chanda and Tara, means you are the highest one for me. Just go for the psychological interpretation of this song. तुझे सूरज कहूं या चंदा, मेरा नाम करेगा रोशन. These all positive energies which you are transmitting toward the child. Maybe the child is not aware about Suraj Chanda, yet the positive energy that leads to development of self-image. Self-image is how you perceive yourself and you understand yourself. तो ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग कहाँ से आएगी? बिकॉज आई टेल यू, सेल्फ इज नॉट इनेट, सेल्फ इज acquired from the society. More the positive energy is relayed in front of the child, more positive self image will emerge. More the negative, same will be the result. The child will develop in that aura, and from the very first day the child will grow accordingly. Okay. Next thing is ideal self. What is ideal self? More, again, it is related to your self-image. More negative self-image you have, more idealization would be there in your personality. And I would say, जितना ज़्यादा idealization होगा, उतना ज़्यादा reality से कटते जाओगे. You will अपनी पर्सनालिटी, अपना सेल्फ छोड़ के, क्यों? क्योंकि बिकॉज यू हैव हर्ट योर सिग्निफिकेंट पीपल, that boy is like that girl is like that, because comparison starts. So you will start following because your parents appreciate that boy or girl. Maybe physically that girl is beautiful, that boy is beautiful, maybe academically he is sound than you. So you will forget your real self and you will try to idealize that person of your life who is being appreciated. And in higher dimensions, that appreciation would be what kind of appreciation? Now you will seek that appreciation from your parents, from your just to seek that appreciation. The child starts following the ideal self. अब उस ideal self के पीछे भागते भागते अपने real self को छोड़ दोगे. Real self हट जाएगा. Be like Indira Gandhi, be like Jawaharlal Nehru, be like Modi. अरे I am me. एक बॉर्नविटा का वो आता है ना, ये आइंस्टाइन बनेगा, ये आर्कमिडीज बनेगा. क्यों? फिर वो बच्चा कहते हैं ना, आई विल बी मिस श्वेता खन्ना, आई वोंट बी आइंस्टाइन और आर्कमिडीज. Why you start compare your child from the very beginning with the ideal self? Your child may be better than Einstein or Archimedes or any scientist or any physicist or anybody else. तो दिस इज हाउ जितना ज्यादा रियलिटी से बच्चे का कांटेक्ट करता है, मोर द चाइल्ड विल स्टार्ट आइडियलाइजिंग विद द पर्सन outside himself who or she is being appreciated by others. That's why it is self, that ideal person, a person that one would like to be, वो उसकी तरह बनेगा. ठीक. फिर आता है how one feels and judges oneself. ये सेल्फ इमेज आ गई, फिर आइडियल सेल्फ आ गई. हमने आपको बता दिया जितना ज्यादा आइडियल सेल्फ की तरफ मूव करेंगे उतना ज्यादा अपना जजमेंट पुअर होता जाएगा. ओके. जितना अब ये जब आप पर्सन मूव करता है तो सेल्फ इमेज उसकी डाउन होती जाती है. फिर वो उसकी सेल्फ एस्टीम को क्या कहते हैं? हाउ वन यू फील एंड जज. तो मोर यू आर टुवर्ड्स idealization of self, more you are towards ideal self, so what will happen? Your self esteem अपने आप down होती जाएगी. Your self esteem will go to the lower directions. तो self concept के 3 dimensions हो गए. पहला हो गया, first is the self image, what you perceive and understand about yourself. Second is the ideal self, who you want to be like, and this ideal self will be too much in that person who is being negatively evaluated. जिसकी सेल्फ इमेज जितनी डाउन होगी, जितनी नेगेटिव होगी, उतना ज़्यादा उसका आइडियलाइजेशन बढ़ता जाएगा. ऑन द अदर हैंड, इफ यू एक्सेप्ट योर रियलिटी, जैसे उस बॉर्नविटा के एडवर्टीजमेंट में वो कहता है, आई एम मिस श्वेता खन्ना, आई वोंट बी आइंस्टाइन, आई वुड बी मिस श्वेता खन्ना. दिस इज अ example of good self image. Okay, more you are connected with the positive self image, higher would be the self esteem. Lower is your connection with the self image, more you will be towards idealization, and lower will be the self esteem. Accept yourself as you are, that is yourself. Moving towards next slide. Individual self belief plus self evaluation is your self concept. एक सेल्फ बिलीव होता है, मैं ये हूँ वो हूँ. अब समटाइम्स आई आस्क माय स्टूडेंट्स, हु आर यू? तो दे से, आई एम मिस श्वेता खन्ना, आई एम डॉटर ऑफ मिस्टर खन्ना, आई एम स्टडीइंग इन BA or MA, I got 80% marks. Then again, who are you? These are the social attributes. You are lucky that your parents gave you chance. If you ask me, who am I? I am Zeba Akhil. I am daughter of Professor Akhil Ahmed. I have done PhD in psychology. I am professor at Integral. Then also the question remains unanswered. Who am I? Who you are? These are the social attributes. Maybe if I am not Zeba Akhil, I can be anybody else. ये नेम आपको फैमिली से मिल गया, पढ़ाई के चांस आपको पेरेंट्स से मिल गए, फादर का नेम आपको बाय बर्थ मिल गया. What, who you are, again the question remains unanswered. Maybe I have studied till D.Litt or PhD or anything else. But my psychology, where are my psychological attributes that make real me? So this question is to be answered in this manner. This block I have done in this self concept, wo characteristics the uske, that were not clear in that slide. That's why I have incorporated this slide. Self concept characteristics. It encompasses of 3 C's. Now, what these 3 C's are? First is complexity. What is complexity? We perceive multiple self views. This means different लोगों की, different people have different images. This is complex. Maybe my parents, हमको ऊपर से चाहे जितना बुरा कहें, but still we can see their love in their behavior. They will always have a, apparently that will be negative, but you can read between the lines that that is the positive attitude. Okay, so but in society, one teacher will like you, other won't like you. The teachers won't say it, but by their behavior, by their body language, by their interaction with you, the child will judge ki, whether what kind of image my teacher is carrying. Your own siblings, your own friends, you are liked by your friends group, whereas you may be disliked by the other group. This, you are constant and there are many views for you. Second is high complexity, several identities with little overlap. सब लोगों के आपके different people are having similar views for you when they are overlapping. Wow, you are beautiful. This can be said in this way. Or maybe the person is not so beautiful, yet people are just making laugh of that person and they saying beautiful. But say एक पॉजिटिव में जा रहा है और एक नेगेटिव में जा रहा है. Child is, the person is confused कि whether this is in positive manner or this is in just a taunt for me. तो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी डिफर करती रहती है. Okay, for different persons. Then is consistency. What is consistency? कोई भी चीज आपके सेल्फ का पार्ट तब तक नहीं बनेगी या आपकी पर्सनालिटी का पार्ट तब तक नहीं बनेगी जब तक उस व्यू में कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं है. इफ देयर इज लैक ऑफ कंसिस्टेंसी, देन एक दिन किसी ने कुछ कह दिया, नो मैटर, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. बट इफ दैट स्टेटमेंट, that view is being given at different point of times and from different people. I am a good teacher. I will give you my example. I am a good teacher, but today I didn't become a good teacher. I evolved to be a good teacher because my students, 20 from 20 years, my students are saying that you teach very good. Your teaching is very effective. You teach in a very good manner. You have good communication skills. Okay, तो ये 20 साल के जो स्टूडेंट्स का एक व्यू आया, तो दैट इन्हांस्ड माय सेल्फ इमेज. एंड वन थिंग मोर, this consistency is motivates me to be a good teacher. बिकॉज अब एक 20 साल में एक मेरी इमेज बन गई है कि जेबा अकील, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग यू एन एग्जाम्पल, बट आई एम अ गुड टीचर. ओके, तो एक इमेज है कि जेबा अकील इज अ गुड टीचर. एवरी टाइम आई हैव टू लिव अप विद दिस इमेज. Okay, that is my real self, and I am every time just I want to prove that. Maybe a theorem is there that Deva Akil is a good teacher. Prove it. So by effective teaching, by preparing myself well, by coming to the level of students. So consistency enhance your self image. Consistency maintains your self image. For a child, consistency, if he is given positive remarks, positive feedback by the parents, by the teachers, then the child will make all the efforts to be a good student or a good child, because I don't want to malign my image. चाइल्ड ऑल्सो डजंट वांट्स टू मलाइन. लोग कहते हैं ना, मेरी इज्जत से खेल गए, मेरा नाम खराब कर दिया. व्हाट इज दैट नेम? दैट नेम इज योर सेल्फ. वो नाम क्या है? वो नाम आपका सेल्फ है. एक इमेज बन के आ गई है. अब उस इमेज को अगर किसी वजह से धक्का लग गया या किसी वजह से किसी ने उसको डिग्रेड किया, तो पीपल से मेरा नाम खराब हो गया, बिकॉज वो कंसिस्टेंसी ब्रेक हो गई. एक बार ब्रेक हुई, नो मैटर. बट इफ आई टेल यू कि कैसे चेंजेस आते हैं सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट में. नाउ दिस कंसिस्टेंसी इज broken many times, then that will be the consistent image. वो अगर कुछ नेगेटिव है तो वो इसी तरह पॉजिटिव को नेगेटिव किया जा सकता है और नेगेटिव को पॉजिटिव किया जा सकता है. कंसिस्टेंटली अगर वो चीज आती रहेगी तो देन दैट विल चेंज इट्स फॉर्म. थर्ड इज योर क्लैरिटी. सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट इज क्लियर, confidently described, internally consistent, and stable across the time. Nothing can be part of your self concept if it is not clear. If something is not clear, if something is ambiguous, if something is not very, maybe today there is one thing and another day it is the other thing, then that is, if it is not clear, it is, if it is not confidently described, if people are weak in that part, yeah, effective people are not saying it, and that wordings lack internal consistency and stability across time, so it won't be part of your self concepts. People have better well-being with multiple selves. Complexity. There is well-established selves. क्लियर है, मेरी इमेज जैसी भी है, वेदर इट इज पॉजिटिव. अगर पॉजिटिव है तो आई विल ट्राई टू लिव अप विद द पॉजिटिव. बट अगर इधर आपके पेरेंट्स भी कभी आपको डांटते होंगे, कुछ कहते हैं, ये ना समझना हम बड़े सीधे हैं, अभी हमको जानते नहीं हो. ऐसा स्टेटमेंट अक्सर लोग कहते हैं, अभी मैं जानते नहीं हूँ. तो वो जानना नहीं मीन्स कि मेरा एक पार्ट जानते हो, मेरा प्यार देखा है, गुस्सा नहीं देखा. व्हाट इज दैट? एक पार्ट है और दूसरा जो हिडन सेल्फ है वो अभी आप नहीं जानते हैं. तो जब नेगेटिवली आप थ्रैश किए जाओगे तो देन यू विल कम टू नो दैट नेगेटिव सेल्फ. तो दीज, बट कंपैटिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए, देन दैट विल बिकम पार्ट ऑफ योर सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट. नेक्स्ट इज सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट्स कंसिस्ट ऑफ सेल्फ स्कीमा. व्हाट इज योर स्कीम ऑफ लाइफ? what are the schematic representation of your self concept? क्या इमेज आपकी बन के आती है जब आप अपना नाम सोचते हैं, जब आप अपनी पर्सनालिटी के बारे में सोचते हैं? इट इज डिटरमिन्ड सेल्फ स्कीमा से और आपके पास सेल्फ से. क्या फीडबैक लेके आगे आए हो, किस तरह से तुमको पाला गया है, किस तरह का फीडबैक आपके पेरेंट्स, टीचर्स, फ्रेंड्स ने आपको दिया है. एंड इट इज ऑल्सो इफेक्टेड बाय योर self-concept affects your present self, और फ्यूचर पॉसिबल सेल्स। मैं ये नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मेरे आई कांट बी प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया. व्हाई यू कांट बी? व्हेन prime ministership, any common man can compete and become the prime minister of India. People say भाई ये मेरे बस की बात नहीं है, आई कांट बी दी प्राइम मिनिस्टर, आई कांट बी प्रेसिडेंट, आई कांट बी IAS ऑफिसर. ये नेगेटिविटी जब फ्यूचर के लिए आ रही है तो ये कहीं ना कहीं, मे बी उसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. वन थिंग दिस कैन ऑल्सो बी ट्रू कि this is not my area. Then why it is not area? Because you have developed in that manner. Sachin Tendulkar can't be professor, right? Because he has that interest in the area of cricket, not in the area of academics. So your future is also past determines your self concept, and self concept determines your future. Now, how question arises, how this self concept develops, कैसे ये बनता है? It is evolved throughout the life, and it depends upon the intelligence of the person, on the emotions of the person, internal characteristics, and plus the environment of the person, the experiences of the person. किस एरिया में पर्सन की ग्रोथ हो रही है, उसको किस तरह का एक्सपीरियंस मिल रहा है. एंड स्पेशली in for everything, your intelligence plays a very intelligence level of the person plays a very important role, that how your self would evolve. And this evolution process starts from the day the fetus is conceived in the mother's womb, and it lasts till the end of your life. In other words, it can be said that from womb to tomb, this self would इवॉल्व. जब यंग एज आती है, यहाँ पे पीछे बता दें, व्हेन यू आर यंग यू हैव लॉट ऑफ अचीवमेंट्स, तो ये सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट बहुत हाइट पे रहता है. फिर धीरे धीरे जब फिजिकल ग्रोथ और जब एक थ्रेशोल्ड लेवल है, देन इट इज ऑल्सो एट इट्स क्लाइमेक्स लेवल. लेटर ऑन दिस थ्रेशोल्ड गोज डाउन, starts going down, and your self concept may, mind my words, I am not saying that this will always be true, but this self concept may weaken with the age, with the exposure, because your physical body is losing that vitality, because it is an important determinant of your self concept. Now I will tell you what does this self concept includes. First is your, because you all are students, that's why this slide has been kept earlier. First is your academic self concept. What is this academic self concept? Yes, academic self concept is पढ़ने में कैसे हो, किस सब्जेक्ट में इंटरेस्ट है, किस सब्जेक्ट में द चाइल्ड इज हाई स्कोरर, इन विच सब्जेक्ट द चाइल्ड इज वीक, इन विच सब्जेक्ट द चाइल्ड इज बीइंग अप्रिशिएटेड बाय द टीचर, और the child is an all-rounder. There are some children who excel in all the subjects, as well as they excel in extracurricular activities. That is the academic self-concept. ये डेवलप होना शुरू हो जाता है फ्रॉम द वेरी अर्ली ईयर्स ऑफ योर स्कूल लाइफ. It evolves with your school life. Acha, one thing, maybe the child is not gone to school, the parents are not able to afford that, then a small zone of academic self concept would be there, that I am not literate, या हमने थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ा था, हम उसके बाद नहीं पढ़ पाए. दैट इज द एकेडमिक सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द चाइल्ड who has not been to school in, or who has not been thoroughly educated. I don't like maths. I like psychology. I don't like physics. I like some other subject. This is part of your self concept, of your academic self concept. ये इवॉल्व होता है, किससे होता है? सिंपली हो सकता है उस पर्सन की मैथमेटिक्स बहुत अच्छी हो सकती थी, लेकिन उसको नर्चरिंग उस तरह से नहीं मिली, उसके इनिशियल ईयर्स के टीचर्स नहीं अच्छे थे, तो मे बी अब उसने क्या किया, एक मैथ से एक टेरर डेवलप कर लिया, बिकॉज द टीचर्स वर नॉट नाइस इन दैट एरिया, टीचर्स वर नॉट इफेक्टिव टीचर्स. तो उसने क्या किया, मैथ से टेरर, जिस सब्जेक्ट समझ में आया उसने वही डिक्लेयर कर दिया कि मुझे यही सब्जेक्ट पसंद है. मे बी वो पर्सन किसी और एरिया में जा सकता था, हैड शी बीन नर्चर्ड बाय गुड एंड इफेक्टिव टीचर्स एंड पेरेंट्स. ओके, एकेडमिक सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट कैसे बनता है? जिसमें मेरे मार्क्स अच्छे आ गए वो सब्जेक्ट मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है, और जिसमें नहीं अच्छे आए वो सब्जेक्ट नहीं अच्छा लगता है. वन एग्जाम्पल आई विल गिव यू. एवरी पर्सन loves to draw something on a paper, on a canvas, but people say मेरी आर्ट्स नहीं अच्छी थी. क्यों? क्योंकि टीचर नहीं अच्छा था, क्योंकि आपका उस टाइम इंटरेस्ट नहीं था. एक ब्रश दे दो तो सभी को पेंट करने का मन होता है. That is a mode of expression. This is another chapter will open, that is part of psychology also. Then also मैं इसको नहीं बना सकता, नहीं बना सकता क्योंकि ये कभी ना किसी किसी टीचर ने, किसी आपके सिग्निफिकेंट पर्सन ने कहा था कि तुम नहीं कर पाओगे, दैट्स व्हाई नहीं कर सकता है. वो एकेडमिक सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट का पार्ट बन गया. मेरी ड्राइंग स्कूल में अच्छी नहीं थी. भाई स्कूल की एक टाइम था, हो सकता है अब अच्छी हो गए. व्हाई डोंट यू गिव अ ट्राई? एकेडमिक सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट को अगर हम इसको चेंज करने की कोशिश करते हैं तो व्हाई डोंट यू गिव अ ट्राई? कि नहीं होता, अरे ये मैथ्स ले जाओ, मैं नहीं पढ़ा पाऊंगा. हो सकता है आपसे अच्छा कोई ना पढ़ा पाए, लेकिन वो हमारे सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट हमारे जहन में बैठ गया है, हमारे ब्रेन में बैठ गया है कि मैं ये नहीं कर पाऊंगा. जैसे जैसे आपको एक एग्जांपल बताएं, जैसे जैसे एज बढ़ती जाती है वैसे वैसे लोग सोचते हैं मेरी कैपेसिटीज कम हो रही हैं, एंड दे डेलिबरेटली डेवलप अ सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट कि ये हार्ड फिजिकल वर्क है, ये हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा. और फिर वो धीरे धीरे दे स्टार्ट लिविंग अप टू दैट सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट कि किसी बच्चे को बुलाएंगे, ये निकाल दो, ये कर दो, वो कर सकते हैं. बट एक मतलब आपको पता है हायर परसेंटेज उसमें आएगा जो कर सकते हैं. बट एक एक बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल अभी आगे देते हैं, अभी नहीं देंगे. फिर सोशल सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट. व्हाट इज सोशल सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट? हाउ आई एम बीइंग परसीव्ड इन द सोसाइटी. सोसाइटी में मेरी क्या इमेज बनकर आई है, इसके लिए सब लोग बड़े कॉन्शियस रहते हैं. दुनिया क्या सोचेगी, दुनिया क्या कहेगी, इसी के चक्कर में बहुत सी चीजें ऐसी होती हैं जो हम करना भी चाहते हैं तो नहीं करते. इफ अ गर्ल सेज टू her parents that she wants to go to fashion designing, to Bollywood, क्या बात कर रहे हो, दुनिया क्या कहेगी कि प्रोफेसर की लड़की वहां जाना चाहती है. क्यों? सोशल. अब ये क्या है? आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि वही काम करने लगो, आई वॉन्ट ऑल्सो अप्रिशिएट, बट देन ऑल्सो सोशल है ना. क्योंकि अभी भी उस चीज का स्टेटस वाइज बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क है कि ये अच्छा काम नहीं है. समथिंग इज गुड सोसाइटी के हिसाब से. तो व्हाट वी डू, वी स्टार्ट लिविंग अप टू द एक्सपेक्टेशंस ऑफ द सोसाइटी. सोसाइटी ने कहा ऐसा करना है, वो उसको हम उसी तरह से जीने लगते हैं. सोसाइटी में जो अच्छे लोग हैं, जो आइडियल, फिर वही बात आता है देन अगेन कि वो आइडियल कॉन्सेप्ट, आइडियल सेल्फ, दोज यू हैव टू बी एन आईएएस ऑफिसर, यू विल बी एन इंजीनियर, यू विल बी एन डॉक्टर, और कुछ नहीं बने तो यू विल बी अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट. Not more than that. You can't go to fashion designing, you can't go to Bollywood, you can't go to any kind of acting. Why? Because society won't appreciate this. तो वो सोशल, इसी में एक एक पार्ट बन जाता है. व्हाट सोसाइटी, विलियम जेम्स, आई विल अगेन से अबाउट विलियम जेम्स. विलियम जेम्स ने कहा था ना, मिरर ग्लास सेल्फ. सोसाइटी जिस चीज को जिस नजर से देखेगी वो चीज उसको अप्रिशिएट की जाने लगेगी. वन थिंग इज अप्रिशिएटेड फॉर सम टाइम इन सोसाइटी, देन अनदर थिंग इज अप्रिशिएटेड. फैशन डिजाइनिंग इसी से चल रही है. कभी अभी आप आउट ऑफ द फैशन पे रहो तो आपको फॉरन लोग टोकेंगे, ये कैसे कपड़े पहन आए. नो, इट इज नॉट योर चॉइस, यू वेयर क्लोथ्स अकॉर्डिंग टू द सोसाइटी. नेक्स्ट इज इमोशनल सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट. बहुत गुस्सैल है. अब आपको रोज सब कह रहे हैं उनको बहुत गुस्सा आता है, तो कभी कहीं नहीं भी आ रहा होगा, आपको हंसने का भी मन होगा, तब भी आप, क्योंकि यू हैव टू अगेन लिव अप टू योर इमेज कि बहुत गुस्सैल है, तो आप वहां भी सीरियस होकर बैठते हैं. ठीक, हंसने का भी मन होगा तो नहीं हंसेंगे. I being the head, I will give you example. People say, how as head you can be so jovial and you enjoy everything. Why? Is there any constitution written? Ki I have to be very much disciplined. I can't interact with my colleagues. I can't laugh with my colleagues just to maintain the distance. हर काम डिस्टेंस से नहीं हो सकता. तो दैट इज एन अनदर इमोशनल सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट कि आप उसी को लिव अप करने रखते हैं. शी इज वेरी केयरिंग, she never gets tired, but you are a human being, obviously you will get tired. अब उसमें सबकी केयरिंग कर रहे हैं, because I have to live to that concept that I am very caring. Okay, then physical self concept, how am I looking? फिर उसके बाद उस फिजिकल सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट में भी with age you will definitely have wrinkles on your face, the shine of your face will decrease. So what will you do? You will apply lot of makeup because I am very beautiful or I was very beautiful, so I will just compensate with the lot of makeup, lot of chemicals on my face, just to say that, just to prove that I am very beautiful. She has a very good body, or he was very smart. So just to compensate these things, we will again move towards ideal situations in which we won't eat anything because we will get fat. We will apply lot of makeup because physical self concept that was that she was very beautiful, so I will prove that I am still beautiful. तो ये जो चार कॉन्सेप्ट बनकर आते हैं ना, एकेडमिक सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट, वी स्टार्ट लिविंग अप टू दोज. मैथ्स नहीं अच्छी है, मे भी एक टाइम पे नहीं अच्छी थी, थोड़ा अच्छी सी ट्रेनिंग मिलती तो आप सबसे अच्छे हो सकते थे, लेकिन क्योंकि वो कंसिस्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन 4-6 क्लासेस में आ गई तो इसकी मैथ्स नहीं अच्छी है, एक एकेडमिक सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट का आपका पार्ट बन गया. सोशल सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट, तुम ठाकुर साहब की लड़की हो, तुम प्रोफेसर के लड़के हो, तुम आईएएस ऑफिसर के लड़के हो, तुम ये काम कैसे कर सकते हो? That is the social song. Every parent advocates to the child कि मेरे नाम की लाज रखना. What the hell wrong I am going to do? Because ये पहले ही बता दिया कि तुमको मेरे नाम का इज्जत रखनी है, मेरा नाम ना खराब हो. That is the social self concept. There are some rules and regulations of the society. If you are following that rules and regulations, you are a very good citizen of that society. If not, then you are a deviant. Second is emotional self concept. Again, I am just repeating it. I can't get angry. औरत होके गाली बक रही हो, औरत होके नाराज हो रही हो, मे बी मेल फीमेल दोनों के लिए, हमारे घर में ऐसे नहीं बोला जाता, गुस्सा नहीं करना है. ऑल दीज थिंग्स, दैट इज दी. अब फिर वो धीरे धीरे एक लेडीज के लिए एक पर्टिकुलर बन गया इमोशनल सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट, मेल्स के लिए एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट का हो गया. Physically, you apply a lot of makeup, I'm still beautiful. Physical self concept. Every time I have to wash my face, I have to apply a makeup, I have to wear good clothes because I have a very good physical. अच्छा, one thing more I tell you, physical self concept में क्या होता है कि हम सोसाइटी के डिफरेंट एरियाज के हिसाब से चलते हैं फिजिकली. जहां पे जैसे जाना है वहां उस तरह के कपड़े पहन के जाते हैं. हायर, इफ यू आर मूविंग टू हायर पीपल, टू हाई स्टैंडर्ड पीपल, you will definitely wear a coat suit. But if you are going to marriage of your helper's girl or boy, then you can go in ordinary manner because वहां आपका सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट वैसे ही हाई है चाहे जिस कपड़े पे चले जाओगे, राइट? तो you we start living up to that image. Then is कब, from when? To child, I will tell you from womb to tomb. I still stick to that, but because till 6 years of age, child's cognitive development is comparatively at the middle age. The child's language development is complete. Now you can understand, the child becomes aware of the self. मेजर अवेयरनेस आती है 12 ईयर्स पे, इट इज रिटन देयर इन द स्लाइड, बट चाइल्ड स्टार्ट्स बिकमिंग अवेयर क्योंकि अब वो पूरी तरह से इंडिपेंडेंट हो गया है, लैंग्वेज वाइज इंडिपेंडेंट हो गया है, कॉग्निटिवली इंडिपेंडेंट हो गया है, और he or she is not just a helpless fellow lying on the couch. Now they have their own entity. तो यहाँ से वो शुरू होना सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट का डेवलपमेंट, it can be easily understood. So it consists of two components. One is psychological self. When you start understanding your psychological characteristics, and another is your valued self. Self-esteem based on evaluative judgment. एक तो आप खुद हो गए. I will come back to this slide. One, psychological self, who am I, who are you, that is your characteristics. Another, what I told you, that example, valued self, evaluative judgments. Okay, for example that I gave you, I am a good teacher, ma'am, you are a very good teacher. That is the example of valued self. But what is your psychological self is your reality. Valued self is your esteemed self, your self esteem, which people have made for you. Next is factors affecting self concept. This I will go in detail in this slide. First is one's own observation. What is your own observation for yourself? First, we will go with the slide 14, factors affecting, that is your health status. How the child was born. Child was born with any kind of inferiority, any organ inferiority, मतलब exactly the physiology and anatomical status of the child. हेल्थ स्टेटस कैसी रहती है, किस तरह से डेवलपमेंट है, क्या उसका रेट है of height, weight, everything that will encompass your first factor for your development of self concept. फिर stressors, what are the stressors the child is facing? I told you, desired child, not desired child, overloaded child, strained child, the child's basic necessities are not being fulfilled. That is the stressors which the child is facing. Next is the developmental transitions. What was the behavior of parents when the child was transforming from childhood to the puberty, to the adolescent stage? Parents, are the parents welcoming parents who accept their child's biological changes or not? Because many cases come in front of me in which girls and boys say that they get a preamble, they get a constitution of things which they have to do when they attain the puberty. Next is personal success or failure history. Till the 13 years of age, your academic self concept is developed. मैं कितने बार फेल हुआ, मैं कितने बार पास हुआ, मैं किस सब्जेक्ट में स्ट्रांग हूँ, इन विच सब्जेक्ट आई एम वीक, एवरीथिंग. So that becomes another part of your self concepts. And last is crisis of life events. Some personal tragedies happen, some mishappening, person lost father, mother, any one of the family whom the child was very much attached, child himself survived any accident. These also are very important information of your self concept. Now we will go in detail is one's own observation, how you observe yourself. Leon Festinger social comparison theory proposes that individual compares themselves with others in order to assess their abilities and opinions. That's why it is said, never compare a child with others. Child will himself compare and learn that how am I better than that person, or how am I weaker than the person who is being compared. The child develops his self-image. And if the parents are also doing the same thing, then it will become very difficult for the child. फिर social comparison will judge your abilities, will decide your potentials, not only for today but also for future. Next is what kind of feedbacks you are receiving, and especially सिर्फ एक फीडबैक अच्छा हो जाए, अपने आप बच्चे का पॉजिटिव सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट, अच्छा सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट, हेल्दी सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट डेवलप हो जाएगा. हाउ? एंड दैट वन फीडबैक इज द फीडबैक ऑफ चाइल्ड्स मदर, and there comes the father. What kind of feedback the mother is giving to that innocent mind, innocent brain, that innocent child who only knows her or his mother in the initial years of life. So whether that mother is giving a positive feedback, a nurturing feedback. For example, it is here written here, we are so proud of you. That is self sufficient statement for the child. आज नहीं हो proud, then also whatsoever, you are my child, I am proud of you. For that only the child may ask, maybe the child has failed, yet I will say I am proud of you. Why? The child will say, why you are proud of me, mama, I have failed. No, I am proud of you that you are my son or my daughter. Then you advocate what you want to say. सारा अपना सरमन दो कि I will do, you can do better, you will score next good marks in next time, marks or anything. Then is the teachers. your coaches, your scout leaders, your classmate, everybody who are significant in your life. Next is you always remember a positive feedback and a negative feedback. Then are the third is your cultural values. Last slide. Cultural values is your own observation about the culture in which you are living, how you are being perceived by others, what culture you have to follow. Maybe you want to follow something and your cultural values are not allowing you to do so. Okay, what kind of things you are eating, what is your diet, what will be your dressing sense, everything encompasses your cultural values. Tomorrow I will explain this in more detailed manner. Now if you have any questions you can post in the comment box and I will try to answer it. Students, this was all from my side, and if you have any question you can post in the comment box. Okay, that's all from my side.